Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything Purity Life. I'm Julie Drapeau.
And I'm Erin Macklin.
And today we're going to do our weekly check-ins. We're going to have Michel Montreuil from M2 and also check on what's new to Purity Life. So today we're September 11.
Yes, it's my mother-in-law's birthday today.
That is a very positive. I like that.
That's the positive start.
That is the positive start. I was thinking just because of the day that the episode is airing, like we all know September 11th for being a quite tragic day or event. And so I was curious about, do you remember where you were and how do you deal just with general big crisis?
Oof.
Easy start.
Yeah, right. Let's get into it, shall we? September 11th, yep. I remember I was at university. I was at University of Guelph. Okay. And I was walking through kind of the main courtyard. I think, was I walking? I don't remember now if I was walking to class or coming from a class. But in kind of the main university center, there's a few areas that have TVs. And I remember just seeing everybody crowded around these TVs and what was going on.
Yeah.
And then hearing somewhat of like something... whatever was happening, and then just basically booking it back to my like on-campus apartment at that time, and then we all sat there and watched. And I remember this. I think it must have been at the university center. I actually saw the second plane.
Yes,
and just
in awe, mouth open, and just like, is that like a movie? Is it
happening?
true? Yeah. And how did you dealt with that after? Were you staying at the university with your friends, or you just call your parents and I'm going home?
No.
No.
I don't know. I almost feel like at the time when it was happening, I don't think we fully realized how huge of a thing this was that was going on. I mean, obviously it was.
Yeah.
But I think having a bit more hindsight gave it a more just the impact on the whole world and on everybody and everything. I think at the time you're almost a little bit dumbfounded. And I think for I mean, literally when it's happening, I think a lot of it is this real? Like, is this happening? Are we all being fooled? What's going on? Like, there's a lot of that before it can kind of settle and be like, okay, that happened. What does that mean? And I mean, especially right when it first happened, it was an accident, right? Like there's so much of all of this. Okay, well, what was it? Where did it come from? Why? What? Like all of that. None of that had all come out yet. So.
Mm-hmm. So when you look at just like crisis, not just that particular event, are you the type of being calm and rational, or there's first an explosion and then, I need to call my relative? And
no, I'd say in the moment I'm the calm and rational, deal with it. I will take on that role to kind of be level. Yeah. And then it'll all kind of come out in the wash after the fact. Yeah. Yeah. No, but in a crisis or an emergency, no, I'm usually the one that's kind of like, okay, here's what we're doing.
Calm down. Yeah. There's the plan. Yeah. Here's the rational plan.
And not necessarily intentionally either. Like it's just kind of that's just the reaction.
You're natural.
Like,
Your default.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. Oh, I think I'm totally like that because I remember being, I think I told you maybe even an earlier podcast that when we flew back from India, we were flying kind of around Everest, and we had for 2 hours of bad turbulences, like so bad that the plane was going like this and the cups were flying if you're not holding on tight to it. And while people were sick, some people were freaking, I was just thinking, okay, I'm wearing a skirt right now and I'm in high heels. So do I have clothes upstairs? Because if we crash, then I need something warm because we're on top of, mountains where it's very cold.
Yeah.
And then I took my phone, took screenshot of where we were, and I sent it to my sister. And I said, hey, by the way, here's where I know I am right now if something happened. And she says, are you crazy? She was more of the panicky side of thing. And I was like, no, just, I just want to make sure. Then you get, a last chance, where I was and find me a little bit easier. She says, this is not so. Yeah, I think I'm more like that too, like that rational thinking more of, what's the plan here, and we'll deal with whatever after.
Yeah. Where were you September 11th?
I used to work, I had my nutritionist business. So I was finishing a consultation and we had a TV because we were a different practitioner in the same area. And there was a TV out of our each office. So I remember like hearing people like you were gathering and rah. So I got out and I looked at the TV and same, I saw the second plane hitting. And I just remember looking at the TV first, is it true? Just like you. And then looking around at people freaking out. And I was like, oh, okay, we need to calm them down because there's nothing we can do here. And that was it. I didn't even call my family or anything.
Yeah.
I just took care of people around me there. Yeah. I just think that it was because we lacked information at that point in time. Yeah. So we'll
any other significant like moments that you can remember that stand out like that?
I think something that happened to me personally, and I don't know how this happened. We still don't understand, but I was in bed and then I started to have massive cramp. Like, you know, when you have like a massive cramp in your quads, I had it to my chest. Couldn't breathe. Like I could feel that, and I didn't want to wake up Matthew, so I went downstairs.
Oh, so this is as an adult?
Yeah, as an adult. I went downstairs, and then I realized I really can't breathe anymore. But then I wanted to yell, hey, something is going on. Yeah. But I couldn't shout. So I was able to move a bit my arms to snap something, and I guess that woke up Matthew. He came downstairs, and I really had a cramp. Couldn't. So anyway,
but at the time, I'm sure you didn't know that that's even what it was. That's terrifying.
I had no idea, but I just knew one thing. I was calming myself and say, if you get more agitated, you'll have even more issue to breathe. I can't remember my brain saying that to me while I can't breathe. And I'm like, just calm down. Just fix a point and just stay there. And then the ambulance came. They never found what I had. They thought first that was a heart attack, and they said, no, your heart is perfect, your heart rate, everything is perfect. But yeah, that was
what did they do when they arrived?
I have pictures of that. We won't post that, but yeah, Matthew was taking pictures of everything. Is like, this is happening. So they just put me on that like heart monitor. Yeah. They didn't inject anything to me. They just put me in. And then I think staying in that calm state, I started to relax a bit, but the cramp was kind of still there. But it was like, it's like your whole thoracic cage, like just like squishing like a cramp. And so I got to the hospital and they just did a million tests on me, and it went away slowly. I think that was just over.
Scary though. Yeah. And then did it make you, like, were you nervous that it was going to happen again? For a while? No. See, that would have been me. I feel like it would have taken me a while to get over the fear of like, well, what if that happens again?
Okay. That may be your wonder from the working genius that kicks in there.
Yes.
I wonder if that will happen again. Well, on that note of crisis and the very tragic and tragedy, we're excited to have our guest, Michel Montreuil from M2.
If you want to know a little bit more about Michel, check out an earlier episodes. I think we've got episodes 9 and 10 when we did a men's health series, which was really cool. So go back and listen to those. You can find a little bit more about Michel.
Exactly.
But I can't wait to hear what he has to say today.
I know. Surprise, surprise.
Thanks, Michel, for coming. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you for having me back. It's been a little while now.
Yeah, exactly. But now live in studio.
It's true, live in studio.
Absolutely.
So we're here all geared up for a big announcement.
Yes.
But maybe before we get into that, you can tell us a little bit of background on the company and where you're coming from.
Yeah, we M2's existed for 14 years now, which doesn't make me feel any younger. We started in 2010. I had worked for another brokerage previous to that for a couple of years, and so I've been at it for a while now.
Yeah.
And, M2 started because Saturday night of a CHFA East, we were out for dinner and a vendor approached Miriam and I and said, would you two consider launching your own brokerage if I was a client of yours nationally? And so that's... after a couple of bottles of wine on a Saturday night in a restaurant, seemed like a really good idea. I was still in my 20s, and so definitely willing to take a lot of risks.
Right.
And so that one was definitely a risk. I bought my house 2 months prior to that. So it was...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was definitely... 2010 was a bit of a wild year.
So you have no choice. You have to make it because you
Exactly.
have lots of payment. That's a great motivator, I find.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those things. It's like, well, you know, if I'm going to go bankrupt, I might as well do it by 20s. That way, it's off my record in my 30s.
Real good.
And so that's how M2 came to be.
And you knew, well, that's obviously Miriam and Michel. That's how the name came about. And you knew each other for years because you worked through the industry
we were colleagues
together.
Yeah. So she was my Toronto counterpart. We were both reps. Yeah.
And when did Miriam transition? Because she's retired now from M2. So
we started having the conversation just over a year ago, and then officially March of this year she transitioned out. So we had it was interesting. So we had Miriam transition out, and we had 2 retirements at the same time. And that's
a big change for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I underestimated it because I had known obviously for at least a year, depending on which of the 3 we're talking about, but we didn't really speak about it as we planned it internally. And so to me, I was like, oh, perfect, now we're going to hit the ground running. And our vendors were more like, what's happening?
Right.
And so I after about a week, I was reflecting and I was like, I should probably really make an announcement to everyone as to what's going on. And everybody's replaced. Here's the new structure of the company. Things are actually great.
Yeah. People fill the gaps otherwise and not necessarily the story you want to be told.
Yeah, exactly. So it was funny. It was funny to send that email and be like, hi guys, here's the new structure of the company. Not much has actually changed. We've actually got, new bodies in place and positions that have never existed. But it was a funny transition there in March.
And what about because you were both taking care of certain, I would say, tasks, right? You were both strong in certain areas. So you had probably to take for a little bit, take on a lot more. I
say often to anybody that's coming into an executive position, unless you are hired by a company where you need to go in and do a cleanup immediately, you're best to kind of sit back and observe for a year. And so I've been giving that advice for 10 years now. And I applied it to myself in my own business. And so it was really humbling because the team on the road, we're really fortunate. We've got a great team and they've been with us for years, a lot of them. And so that part is good. But then when you sit back and you look at some of the other things that, other procedures that you have in place or, just some of the data that we're using, it was time to do a bit of a cleanup. So then it was a little bit harder for me to sit back and not change everything at once.
Observing is hard. Huh?
Observing is really difficult. I've learned a lot in the last year. Observing was really difficult. So
And today you're giving us the opportunity to share that big news of what's coming, the change,
big announcement,
big announcement, and we're very thankful that you're doing it with us. So we'll going to give you the floor to tell us.
Yeah, well, I think the partnership over the last 14 plus years kind of justified the announcement with you guys. When we started talking about doing this podcast, I said, oh, hold on, I might have an idea as to, some extra content for it. So we've been working on a rebrand for the last maybe 6 months. The day that this airs will be the day that the announcement goes out in the industry as well. So M2 is rebranding to Optimized Brands.
Ooh. Optimized Brands.
Yeah. And we kicked around a lot of different names, and it stuck with Optimized because I kept on talking about optimizing the company and optimizing the way we're doing things and optimizing this spreadsheet.
It better.
And then I said, hold on, that works as a name. And not only does it work as a name, it also works, and you can appreciate this, in French. And it means the same thing.
Yes.
And so, being based in Montreal, we are a national brokerage. Obviously, I'm bilingual, but it was important for me this round to, M2 Brand Management Inc. is very English. And so I wanted a name that we could, kind of use in English and French. So
proud of you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it was, and it's kind of, it's funny because I am actually, this company is fully bilingual. And so the business cards are bilingual, everything is bilingual. We're working towards that. Even the sell sheets, if they come to us and they're not bilingual, we will actually make French versions of them moving forward.
Great.
Well, there's many parts I wanted to comment so much about it, but definitely the name, I think it's really catchy because as a broker, part of your task or your job is to help brands to get you to be better, to optimize everything, and then that says it right there.
Optimize your shelf space, optimize your product selection, optimize your exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've definitely got a lot of really easy marketing.
Yeah,
yeah, that's very, very smart. Is the colors gonna?
The colors are staying the same.
So black.
Okay.
It's black and gold.
Black and gold.
There was a huge debate about that. I was actually looking to change the colors, and my staff was not on the same page as me. Black is always going to be a color that I'm wearing, and so I said, you know what, let's do it. And often when you do a huge rebrand, you kind of do it transitionally. So maybe in a year or two, it'll be black in another color,
right?
Or maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, black and gold. That way, we're still somewhat recognizable. It's not a total changeover. We had a lot of conversations with retailers and with our vendor partners as well, kind of, how would you feel about me changing the company name?
Right.
And everybody was into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been one of the jokes since, Miriam has stepped away was, is it going to be M1 now?
And
right.
I know we were, I was thinking actually this morning before coming, like driving down here, and I was like, what is he going to come with?
Yep.
Like, and I was like, fooling around in my head with like M1. I said, no, Michel would never do that. But then, F1, M1, that could have some good connection.
I went down the M rabbit hole. Like, I will admit that I really went down that rabbit hole. I had one name that was perfect. Unfortunately, it was already taken in both the US and Canada.
Oh, man.
Can you say it?
Momentum.
Momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, it's so great that it's already taken actually by multiple companies in the same space. And so,
really?
So, if ever they listen, you guys have got a great company name.
Yes.
And I didn't use it.
You're welcome.
But you kind of find the same way with the name that you have, so that there's, that speaks it all. And that's hard to find. And especially, as you said, the complexity with bilingual.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard one to
it's really not
find.
easy.
Yeah.
That's why, for a brand where you then are dealing with trademarking, I have a new respect for brands when it comes to having to come up with a brand name and product names. It's really difficult.
Well, so often that back thought is not put into it of okay, once we do this in a different language, is this going to work? What's it going to look like? How do we market that? So good for you for having that forethought, because that'll take you far.
Do you feel, and I don't know if you can share that, but do you feel that with the transition that now it's you at the top, we'll say it with your team, but at the top, because Miriam had her color, what would be the main change of color for the new version?
It was so funny. Miriam and I avoided the corporate for so long, and I've kind of embraced it in the last few years. And so it wasn't true to the identity that was M2. And so that's where
you came,
exactly with, we were always against providing very extensive reporting, whereas now we've probably got some of the best around. We've taken a lot of things into consideration that non-food brands really need. And so, as the industry went more corporate a little bit as well, I've kind of gone that direction. So it'll be more true coming from Optimize than it would have been from M2.
Right. Yeah, so being more sophisticated, and I've seen it already.
Yeah, just
Definitely.
The information that we're using, the tools that we're using, the new roles that we've created at the company as well, just even managing e-commerce. There's a lot of things that we have to do now, and because we've lived it together, that we didn't have to do 5 or 10 years ago.
Totally, because I would say the food, drug, and mass definitely influenced, and all those big players, conventional, influenced the way, and a lot of even health food store have mimicked some of the practices. So you have to sharpen your tools for data and information, and to help the brand as your main role.
But everything needs to be automated, or if not, one of the reasons I was always so against it is that I never wanted to pull my team off of the road. That relationship is so important, and so you have to find a way to make sure that the person that's on the road stays on the road, and actually you're making it easier for them to do their jobs and not harder.
Absolutely.
And that was where balancing that is not as easy as we would think.
Yeah. Well,
can you tell us a little bit about the new roles that you've created?
So we have a conventional sales manager for English-speaking Canada. We have, spoiler alert, we also have a sales manager for French-speaking conventional as of September 30th. And then we're just actually bringing somebody in as well. I can't announce it yet because they haven't signed the agreement, but to manage Amazon in Canada. So just to kind of make sure that the Amazon business in Canada is being ran as per how the brand wants it to be ran.
Right.
And make sure as well that we're protecting the pricing, we're protecting, the independent retailers, we're protecting even the conventional channel at this point, and making sure that everybody can keep their share of the pie.
Could be the Wild West.
And it is.
Yeah, it
really is.
It definitely is, and it's growing, and it's not going anywhere. So there's need to have some people that are in the known of what they absolutely do on that. So That's that's great.
And we have somebody coming in for special projects. So all of those things that, sometimes you happen to come up with, over a coffee. Well, now I can throw that idea at someone and have them put it into practice. Good. So that is probably what I'm the most excited about.
Michelle and I to have those conversations, and we just ideas floating.
Yeah. So like the last decade worth of notes in my iPhone is about to come to life, I think.
That's exciting.
Amazing. Good luck
Super
to that person who takes that position.
She's been warned.
There's a lot there.
Yeah, exactly. You're starting, but you're already behind.
Exactly.
Because here's the list.
But here's the list.
Are you thinking of doing like a big party or something like that?
I've debated it. We were going to have, it's so funny, we were going to do a 10-year party.
CHFA?
Yeah. Well, we were going to do a 10-year, our plan originally was a 10-year at CHFA East, and, we know what happened in 2020. Then it kind of seemed weird. And then, I knew that a change was coming. So now that's it. I'm kind of like, okay, well, next, it's too difficult to plan that now. And I've already bitten off slightly more than I can handle, and I'm getting there, but I know there's no more that can fit on the plate. Yeah. But I'm thinking maybe for September 25.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, it's because we were talking also about all the costs. Like there's that too. When you rebrand, it's kind of, it's kind of cool and changing the name and taking that to another, level area. But then we were just discussing, the cost just of the banner for CHFA and all of that.
But it's everything. Everything that has your name on
reprogramming the
it.
phone systems. Like
the
amount, the list is extensive.
Yeah. You can write a book now on how to successfully change
how to do a rebrand. How to do a rebrand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any big learnings kind of looking back that were just surprising?
Yeah. The amount of branding that I've done over the last 14 years without really realizing it.
Yeah, just builds.
And also the amount of baggage. It's interesting because it tied into, we renovated our offices and changed all the furniture and just it was time for a fresh start. Yeah. And I wanted everything to kind of tie in at once. That way everybody could, get that same feeling. Called some of the employees back into the office a little bit more frequently as well. And I, part of that team. Cleaning out along with observing over the last 12 months kind of what was in place that shouldn't be in place anymore or was being done. Like it was cleaning out in every sense of the word. And I don't think as a company owner, you sometimes get lost in the weeds as much as you try not to. And I don't think that we realize sometimes how much time is being wasted or resources that are being wasted. Like you really need to look at what you're doing far more often than you're doing it. And I don't think that there's a lot of business owners out there that could say with 100% confidence that everything is running smoothly and efficiently at all times.
Yeah, agree. I think that when we created Phil Bean's role, like director of improvement, that's to always have that somebody that it's top of mind, because as leader, of course, you get stuck in doing certain things and then you forget that part. And while it's running smoothly, it might run even, faster and better.
Difficult
if you keep
build that time in to do that reflection and those
absolutely
updates.
And have somebody that connects all the dots, that is connecting all the, not just looking at one department, but looking at the overall business and reviewing that. So that's so key, definitely.
I mean, I went I went on the road with the team, and it wasn't, it wasn't even for meetings. It was just like, hey, what do you like? Show me what your day looks
process?
like.
Show me what you do. Yes.
And Catherine in the office, give me the password to GS1. I want to go and enter products.
Right.
Show me all these listing forms. Like show me everything that is going on, and then let me optimize it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nice.
So, way to go.
Nice brand drop there.
Way to go. There you go.
I'm gonna be doing that often over the next year.
Yeah. Well, that's the way. That's the way, right? The subliminal talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A big congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, we've been working with you for years, and super excited about the change. M2 was great, but I think that you're gonna bring it to another level, and we're happy to participate. And that's
we're gonna have fun together.
It's something we can get behind.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for your time, Michel.
Thank you, guys.
Very exciting, new to Purity Life, brand that we've had for years, Giovanni. The great thing about that brand is I think in the hair care solution has been the first one to really give natural product with the vibe of conventional.
Yeah, like salon.
Exactly. So they kept through the years, adding some collections and
always beautiful on shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And they do the work. So when you use them, you have good results on what you're looking for. And on your side, Erin,
so we've got a few different things. This is the curl defining line, which I'm excited about because I can do curls.
I can leave you that.
So there's a curl defining shampoo and conditioner and a leave-in conditioning elixir. It's all silicone free, jojoba, shea butter, great for detangling. I'm really excited about this one. And, you need to smell it.
That's what I was to do.
It smells lovely.
And for those who are listening, the bottles are like a nice grape color with shiny, some gold on it.
Shiny, glossy purple.
Yeah. So really, oh my God, wow. It's kind of a fruity scent right? For some reason.
It's very nice.
Yeah. And definitely for our
curl friends, unite and embrace those curls and waves.
Yeah, the shea butter is very good for curly hair. Like it's very nourishing. So I don't know if you notice on your hair, like the curls, you get drier hair. Yeah. Oh, maybe you should tell us about your little episode of your little hair color in the pool. Side notes on hair care.
So I went swimming in this pool one time. And I didn't notice right away. The next morning I woke up and saw my hair. I was like, oh, my hair's green.
And it was very green. I have to say, Erin comes in my office and then she just comes in with her face like, oh my God, what just happened to me? And she's like, look. And then and I couldn't stop. I was like, that's an interesting trend that you're showing there with your
There's nothing
green
you could
streak.
do. Like I apple cider vinegar rinsed my hair like to death, like multiple times, soaked it. All of the advice is we'll put like a tablespoon or two into a liter of water. I was doing 2/3 apple cider vinegar with 1/3 water and soaking my hair, and it was still green. I finally broke down and I went out and got conventional swimmer's shampoo. Didn't do anything. Don't bother. And now it's only finally starting to wear off, because what was I going to do? I don't want to dye over this like minerals that have attached to my hair.
That could have turned just another color, maybe a bright purple.
It was terrible. It was terrible. And then every day I would think that it was getting a little bit better, and my kids would be like, your mom, your hair's really green still. I'm like, yep. Thanks for that.
Just like the troll hair a little bit, when they have the tips on colors.
And it was only in like little streaks, like it wasn't all over, but there were some parts that were very green.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness.
Then you can now use that beautiful hair mask to treat and nourish your hair.
This is the Smooth as Silk Deep Conditioning Hair Mask, which is exciting because I really like the Smooth as Silk shampoo and conditioner.
As a collection.
I don't know if you've ever used it, but it's
absolutely.
Like so silky. And to get that sort of silky and really easy to brush through without using silicone is really hard to do. So I'm excited that they've got that hair mask too.
Yeah, that's a very good one. And what I'm very excited on my side is the kids collection. And the bottle, for those who are listening, it's kind of a pink and then a teal turquoise for the lid. What I really like too is you have your shampoo conditioner. So the basic treatment, you have also your detangling spray. I don't have, young kids, but I do know for parents who have kids with long hair, trying to detangle is like a catastrophe. I remember my
Especially
sister
if it's got
with
any
kids.
Body or curl or anything.
Absolutely. What is very intriguing and new in hair care for kids, it's the elixir or styling elixir.
Yeah, that's uncommon to find.
It is. What is very good and I like about that is for kids who are swimming a lot, it gives a little bit more conditioning. So it really helps to nourish and not, treat the hair that could be much drier.
Yeah.
And have you smelled it?
No.
Oh my God. It smells like candy.
Excellent.
Yeah. And all the texture rinse really well. Nothing sticky.
That's really
it's
nice.
fun, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to become turn to kids again.
Hey,
so
might as well.
Absolutely.
Strawberry extracts, coconut oil, and watermelon. That makes sense.
Yes.
That tracks.
Watermelon is
and I got to say,
smell.
so yes, absolutely on the detangler. It's always hard to find a good detangler. But also, my kids really appreciate a shampoo conditioner because they're kind of lazy in the bath, not going to lie. So if they can do one step and get both wins, then they're going to be fans.
Absolutely. So retailers, put that on your shelf because it's going to stand out.
Thanks so much for joining us again. Be sure to subscribe and review and like and follow us on Instagram at Purity Life Health Products LP. And I'm at Erin G. Macklin. And
Julie at JD_Girl Power. And coming back because next week we're going to have Trace Mineral, the whole team, a lot of them. And it's very exciting. So
awesome.
Stay tuned.